Oh, here we are again now, and it's like no time has passed. Gazing out upon the sunset as it sinks into the night. Many times it seemed as though a given day might be our last. Face to face with certain death, it's somehow coming out alright. I don't think that we have any cause to lament, but there's quite a lot of thrilling intent, thrilling intent, thrilling intent, thrilling intent.
I see remnants of the paralytic agent that they've developed. Excellent.
Excellent.
Yes, I actually, I assisted in the creation of this. It's, quite effective. He takes a step back. Sorry. I got distracted.
I appreciate your lack of empathy.
I appreciate my own handiwork. We are meant
to be together.
Locke, do not make a move on my dad, not in the middle of all of this.
He takes a step backwards. Well, I was brought in particularly after the fall to perfect or complete the celestial silver recipe that we were working on in the capital before the fall. Celestial silver is a tricky substance, he says, taking a few steps backwards. The ASMR intended to use it, my General Gold, intended to use it to construct a fortress rapidly, but, he looks down. It proves to be a, rebellious substance. Without a will to control it, it will simply fall away to nothing. He waves his hands away, and you realize your supposition earlier was actually correct. What the celestial silver was missing was a will or intention. Now, these creatures, the truer nature of all of them, they are, unfortunately, beings from a higher world. I've heard people refer to them as angels, and they are patently correct. Insofar as anything from the heavens could be called an angel, you could be picking up their equivalent of a dog or a squirrel. But they come from a higher world for certain. He sort of strokes his mustache for a second. The construction of these creatures, I'm unsure of how that tower is making more of them. It's quite the confusing situation. There seem to be more and more, but we thought we could seclude ourselves in this fortress up here, build it out of celestial silver, and honestly, disconnect ourselves from the rest of the world. He looks over to you, Mercy. I believe, well, the Reforged Legion held the front.
Mercy looks down that she was correct.
Yep. But those angels that you've been encountering, they are creatures of celestial silver to begin with. They've been made using fragments of ASMR souls. He takes another step forward and points at Mercy. Every ASMR swears an oath. It's a divine promise that grants them great power. The truth is, to a certain extent, that anchors you to this world. You have divinity swirling in your veins. You are from a higher world yourself. The oath is a necessity that you live into a ripe old age. He looks back over to Marcus. How much have you come in contact with your own demonic soul?
More than I would, personally volunteer for, were it not necessary.
I see. So you've experienced it then. That tether to another place.
I have.
He nods.
It's not comfy.
That tie, that essence that's contained within your soul is necessary for the process. He points at Mercy again. By pulling out a section of an ASMR soul, committing it to silver, a creature from a higher world can be brought down here, functionally allowing them to puppeteer a body created from silver itself. All that's necessary is the fuel to make the bridge, your soul. Your oath is, to a certain extent, what ties you to a higher plane, and such, what brings them down here.
I knew it.
He turns around. He turns around again. The question becomes, who has been making them in the capital? I know who has been making them here. He sort of smiles for a second. It seems these creatures are getting wiser. One creating the other. These angels are creating themselves, using fragments of ASMR to summon more of their kind into our world. And then he claps his hands together. Thus the necessity in shutting down this lab, and thus the necessity of making sure that they can't continue to do this.
Well then, I think it would be wise that we waste no more time.
So what? We're gonna burn this place down?
Well, it's already in the process. But our focus will be the lab smashing absolutely everything.
Okay. Yeah.
And
Hey, Jambalaya, you're gonna like this. Come along.
Oh. And how much contact have you had with the people interred within this fortress?
a decent amount.
I only threatened to
Some,
waterboard
like-
them 3 times.
Well, keep your distance. Whatever that
But I got them to talk about their feelings. I've gotten invested in them and their well-being.
that tower has an effect on the mind, he says, patting the side of his head. If you're around it too long, if you look at it for too long, you start to think it was always there. And then you start to think it was something fundamental to the identity of Tannhauser, and then at a certain point, well, it seems like the person inside just sort of vanishes, fallen under the sway of something significantly larger. I'm still puzzling out the mysteries of this place myself, but at the very least, I know about the soul extraction process, and I do know a weakness to these things.
Do you think the reason that the tower is able to, I suppose, you would describe this as a possession of the body for the fellow tieflings here, yes?
He nods.
Do you think the reason is because when they look at the tower long enough, they sort of develop an oath, dedication to it, which then creates that anchor you were discussing?
His expression just completely falls. That's brilliant and deeply upsetting.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, boy. Well,
No, I believe you might be onto something. Falling under the sway of an oath. He stops and thinks about it. And, like, you're getting into this conversation where he's like, yes, I believe I'm discovering the deeper mysteries of this place. And, like, he's borderline started to lift up the fucking cloth on the table to climb through a trap door. It's a fucking ludicrous position. And then he rights himself for a second. I had a theory related to oaths to begin with.
oh,
That tie in your divine soul. Who arbitrates exactly when you have succeeded or failed in your oath? My guess was, you're actually being watched. He points at you again. Some divine ancestor in the world above making sure that you're doing your job, that your promise is kept. He taps his own horn and then points at Marcus. Demons have a habit of meddling with us mortals as well. I figured that angels might be doing the same thing. He looks back to you. As an ASMR, I'm not surprised you arrived at that conclusion far quicker than I did, but if oaths are, to a certain extent, angelic observation, the idea of some greater being keeping an eye on you to make sure you keep your promise, it would make sense that that tower has made a contract, a promise with the country of Tannhauser itself. Everyone who stares at that will eventually be held under its thrall.
But you can't avoid it by not staring at it, it sounds like, right?
that's true, but that creates a new problem entirely. She looks back at Sir Valafi. The thing about an oath is that when it is broken, you die. And if a lot of people are developing an oath connected to the tower and we destroy it, what happens?
He like takes off his glasses, kind of like rubs his forehead for a second. We have to hope that failing that oath won't be nearly as fatal as it is for your comrades. But just the same, I get the feeling that if the tower has the ability to call defenders to its side, we may be fighting more of our own on our way to it. If we're going to smash the damn thing, he says with a big smile on his face.
Which we absolutely should.
Gregor grunts in agreement.
As I said, I've discovered a weakness. I've developed it. He says, "Here, climb into this hole. You have to unhinge yourself slightly, but movement isn't too bad. Come on." He slides in like a snake or a noodle.
Mercy is just kind of frozen there thinking because she wants to save this country so bad, and she'll do what it takes, but she's also like, I might just instantly kill half the population.
Mercy, I know that you have some heavy things on your mind right now, but let's keep moving. We'll take it one step at a time, and we'll figure it out as we go along, okay?
Of course.
Half is better than all.
Yes.
Head pops back out of the hole. By the way, I have further suppositions on the nature of these creatures, so if you ever want me to narrate at you, I am extremely good at it.
Oh, do tell.
Well, as far as the shapes of these individual creatures go, I've begun to suppose myself, due to long periods of observation, that the celestial silver is being manipulated into a shape that represents whatever they were back in their home plane. For example, certain types of creatures. He starts to just ramble. Like, it's all very interesting, actually. Like,
Harlock isn't even paying attention. She just keeps looking at Marcus and she's smiling.
Marcus's eyes have glazed over and he just kind of frowns back at Harlock.
Mercedes, goes over to Marcus. So, do you have a mom, I presume, yes?
Had a mom.
I see. Don't worry, I'll
Who
play
wants to go down a trapdoor? I really want to go down a trapdoor right now.
I know. If it's any consolation, I'll play defense. Harlock, I'll take lead.
I'm already in the hole.
No,
get out.
Move. I'm going down first.
Yeah, get out of there. They need more fathers.
It's
more father-son time.
Who's stepping on
Jambalaya,
me?
you go first. You can be the squishy buffer between me and my father. Marcus climbs down.
you guys can hang out in the back with me.
Yeah, Mia, thank you so much. We're not trying to ignore you. There's just been a lot happening.
No,
Are you doing all right?
I don't have much to add.
Just shrugs.
You're selling yourself short. I mean, Mia, you have lots to add.
Yeah, okay. My opinion is, I hope half the population doesn't die.
Hey, me too.
It's a hot take.
You're handling this so well. What do you want to do when this is all? Do you still want to be in the military or what do you want?
What are
I'm
you
feeling a bakery.
You want to start a winery?
Honestly, all that sounds good. I didn't get my hopes up for anything beyond living, so, she thinks for a second. Yeah, I'm gonna retire.
There you go. You deserve it.
Yeah.
You too.
Yeah. Okay.
What? Who the heck are you?
Holy shit.